What's going on? How's everybody doing? So, there was some redness today, right? There was some dumps. So earlier in the morning, I found out that Michael Saylor sold like $100 million of Bitcoin. I guess the markets reacted. I thought this was kind of funny right here. Michael Saylor posted, "When I say never sell your Bitcoin, I speak as one saver to another. I have never sold mine, not one Satoshi. Strategy is a public company, not my wallet. Since 2020, it has disclosed." So basically, it's just saying like I'm true to my word. I never sell. So his company is what sold. So yeah, there was some redness overall. It's still kind of red. There's still a lot of things red, right? There's like things are like really dumb today. There was some other news, like I think it just became apparent that the Clarity Act is stalled in the Senate, and it's more than likely it's just not going to pass through the Senate by August 7th, which is the deadline. So that doesn't help. That didn't help at all. On Friday, we had some good news. So on Friday, the Bank of Japan did not raise interest rates. So everybody was expecting it to happen. So it was kind of bullish that it did not happen. So, but yeah, here we are in August. There's this concern that a lot of us have that August might be very, very red. And if we get a new bottom, it might come within the next 30 days. That's a concern that some of us have. And I want to get into all that because I was looking into something I found interesting. Well, here we go. Look, it's Velvet. I was talking about Velvet yesterday in my live stream. Velvet is actually pumping. And a bunch of red, right? But I wanted to go over something. This is more related to stocks. This is like a common misconception, I think. Like I've been told recently, like I've been saying there's not going to be a bottom in October because everybody and their grandma is going to be buying back in October. And people have been pointing out that there's a 4-year cycle, even unrelated to Bitcoin, that goes like way back. And October is typically like the worst month for stocks. And I thought that to be true as well. And I'm like, yeah. I actually thought that to be true, but I think that that's just like some common myth. Like, what is that Mandela effect, right? The Mandela effect where a lot of people believe that Nelson Mandela was killed in the 90s or something like that. And like when he never was, called the Mandela effect, where everybody just believes something that's false. So I just want to briefly go through this. I have these slides, but the October effect. So supposedly October is the worst month for the markets, right? Outside of Bitcoin, right? Because this is the first time we even have a prediction for a bottom for the crypto market in October, because we've never had a bottom in October prior to this. But related to stocks, everyone remembers 1929 and 1987. Almost no one remembers the other 97 years. Here's what the data actually says about the markets. Most feared month. Medium return is 1.3%. Negative years is 38 out of 99. That's interesting. Volatility is plus 36% versus the average out of the 11 months. It seems so very volatile. Now it doesn't seem too bad with these first 2 points, but very volatile. So, 2 crashes built a century of fear. October earned its month of crashes nickname, right? The 2 most infamous single-day crashes in the market history happened in October. The 2 events spread across 90 years is not a pattern, it's an outlier. So, the 1927, so the data window begins, and this is the S&P returns. But we know it all happened in the 1920s, right? So in 1929, we had the stock market, the famous stock market crash. in 1929 in October. And then Black Monday in 1987, a single day dropped, which cemented the October curse. Right? And just want to get through this real fast, I guess, right? So it's not the worst month and it's not even close, right? The returns are positive on average. It's the 6th out of 12 months. It's the sixth, I pronounced that correctly, 6th worst month, which is right smack in the middle. So I think there's like this common thing that October is really, really bad for stocks. And even I believe it myself. And now that I see this, I'm like, oh, wow. Just right in the middle. It's not one of the worst. It's not one of the best. It's just like right smack in the middle. The 12 months, it's the 6th worst, right? And so hit rate, 62% share of years since 62% of the years since 1927, October returned positive. So October has mostly been positive. So this is for all you folks out there, all you 4-year cycle zombies that try to use that particular point, that October is usually bad for the markets anyway. And this time it's just going to happen with crypto. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I guess it doesn't seem like that. The volatility paradox. October is historically the most volatile month of the year for the equities. So that is like, it is the most volatile month. I guess there's a lot of swings, right? Intraday swings than any other month, even though it tends to close positive. So even though October tends to close positive, there are lots of ups and downs, right? We have earnings seasons, tax laws carry over, government uncertainty, right? In alternating years, U.S. presidential election jitters add an extra layer of macro noise. So alternating between the presidential elections as well as the midterm elections, right? So every 2 years. So that causes a lot of uncertainty. Yeah, the election year pattern, slight decline, the U.S. presidential election years. The S&P 500 has, on average, a modest pullback in early October as uncertainty peaks. So in early October, modest pullback. Recovery, that early weakness has often reversed as the outcome clarifies, feeding into the broader year-end rally. All right. Where October ranks, September carries the weakest reputation of any month on the calendar. October, despite its horror stories, sits in the middle of the pack, well behind the strength of November and December. Right, so weakest month is September. July and October is tied for the 6th worst. And December is the strongest month, and I guess November is among the strongest months. So it's really not related to October. So there's nothing going to tie Bitcoin to an October curse. Median return 1.3%, not a curse. Higher risk, yes. Higher volatility, absolutely. But historically, October has been less a crash month and more a volatile bridge. So, yeah, I don't know. I'm of 50% certainty that the bottom is behind us, and maybe like a 40% certainty that the bottom is like in the next 30 days, like way before October. And then the remaining 10% will be like, I'm open to entertaining the idea that there'll be a bottom after October, because everybody and their grandma is going to be buying back in, in October, because they believe that there's going to be a bottom in October. And a lot of people who know that's going to happen are going to front run that and try to buy back in before them in September. So the bottom might be front run. Bottom might be happening early. But so I want to take a look at this chart for a second. This is So we all know that the top was in November and of 2021, and the bottom was in November of 2022. Right, so we're waiting for that. That's the 12-month pattern there. So if we go back to December, so December, the top was in December of 2017, and the bottom was in December 2018. All right, this wick right down here. Let's kind of mark it or something, right? All right, so that's there. The other one, going back to 2013, so you see this pattern where it's almost like 2 years in a row things are similar. Now, so this is the top, December 2013, December, November. I know that the top was in December 2013, but this wick is a little higher. I don't know about that. I think it's just common knowledge that the top in the 2013 was in December. Anyway, so if it was, yeah, I mean, so the thing is, like, the things I want to show right here is that the bottom, this is in January. So it's a little bit later. So right now, I was right, just because of this chart, it's in question that the top was in December. It's been commonly known that it was December in 2013, December in 2017, and then November in 2021, right? But this wick looks a little higher, whatever. Yeah, 1,100, and so this is, yeah, Bitcoin was 1,163 according to the high right here, and it was 1,153 according to the wick high right here. So $10 less. So let's say right like December 1st. I don't know, whatever. But the point I want to make here is this is not 12 months. So if you count it going from December to January, okay, that's 13 months. If you count it going from November to January, where the bottom was well, not necessarily, like, it wasn't in 2014. It was in January of 2015. So 13 or 14 months. So it's not always 12 months later. It could be, and that's, you know, that could stand as an argument to say that, yeah, the bottom could be after October. It could be in like November or December of this year, or even like January for that matter. Like, I doubt it. You know, I have my doubts, but there's this, you know, this pattern. I noticed it's like a lot of, like, 2 years, things happen 2 years in a row, more or less, or does it? So 12 months from top to bottom, 2 years in a row, because previously that didn't happen. Or am I thinking? No, I don't know. It's I don't know. You have to keep your mind just constantly, like, thinking about this stuff, and you'll try to you try to make heads or tails of it, and then it's always a matter of trying to plan your strategy best way. Did you buy the if dip? Yes, I did. I think I'm gonna buy some more again. Yeah, I'm just throwing in small amounts into that here and there. I bought some more Casper today. I bought some more Casper. We Casper went down to oh, if it's going back up. Look at that. Nice. The recovering already. That's nice. Yeah, I was looking at a lot of these Robinhood memes, and a lot of them are just well, this was doing pretty good up until a moment ago. Now it's got a red candle. Yeah, a lot of them are crashing. Like, what happened with, like, yeah, it's hard to say what's going to happen with some of these. Well, this one isn't too bad. It went up again, and then, you know, rallied up again. Now we're going back down. That's not too bad. I was saying this looks like a good deal back when it was back like over here. So if anybody took a look at it and bought into it, they could have made some profits as it ran up over here. Did like a 8x, right? Nice. But yeah, it's hard to say what's going to happen with these Robinhood memes. Like which ones are going to be the survivors? Because right now it's just, I always been saying this, right? It's all us trading against ourselves. Like us crypto bros who have stayed in here and we're feeling the pain and there's no new retail. Like it's us trading against ourselves. So it's a rough market out there. I'm trying to look at what's going to happen in the long term. You know, in the long term, is What If going to be listed in the Robinhood app? Is it going to go to like 3 billion or 5 billion? That's more what I'm looking for. I'm not looking for something like if, what's this one I just had up? Cooper. I don't know. I'm not looking for Cooper if it's going to go to like a 2 million market cap. I'm not really looking for those type of things. It's hard to say. And, you know, it's like I got to take a step back and just take a look at things, because the reason why I didn't get into What If really early is because it was the deck screener profile was crazy shady. So, you know, the original dev was swapping out different Twitter communities on the deck screener profile. So I'm like, okay, this is shady. I'm not going to buy into it. And then look what happened to What If. It just went up like crazy. You know, like I'm up like 10x rather than 100x. I would have been up 100x if I had got into it when I first found it. But if you flip that around, you're like, okay, the profiles need to be really built out. They need to have activity on X. They need to have a good website, right? But it's so easy nowadays to do that, just with AI. It's so easy to just launch a website, you know, make a bunch of content, put it on X, have your Twitter posts, and just make a really, is this a real dog? Oh, maybe it is a real dog. But you can even fake that nowadays. You can just make believe you're making a coin about a real dog. It's so easy to do that. And the point is, like, it's cheap to do that. Very little time, very little effort, very little investment money to just make activity. So on one hand, you might say, okay, if they can't even do that, then the coin must suck. And you don't want to get into it. But then you go back to What If. It's like they weren't doing that, and look what happened to it. So it's really difficult. Now it's like you have the other thing. It's like another catch-22. It's you have the idea that now it's so much easier to just swap and use DEXs, so centralized exchanges might not be as valuable anymore. So how do you judge it too? You know, things like that. You have to know about the devs. The devs have to be doxed. They have to have some sort of reputation. It has to be things like that too. It's still good to be on a centralized exchange. There's no doubt about that, because if the devs are actually putting up the money to be on centralized exchanges, then they might, you know, they must be investing something into it. They must have a little bit more conviction into it. Yeah. What if needs more liquidity at almost 40 million MC, they only have 7? Okay. Oh, really? I didn't even check that. Yeah. Yeah, but I'm sure it'll get to it. This is still no. It goes back to the whole thing with like we're trading against ourselves. You know, it's just there isn't much. There aren't that much people in the markets. I don't know. It's just I just have the feeling. I still have those bear market vibes. You know, so it's exciting. We got something new, and there's a little bit of excitement right now. We got like a Robinhood, sort of like a DeFi summer, where we got like a Robinhood summer. So it's exciting, but it's still a bear market. I still have those bear market vibes. I still feel like there could be a bottom in August. You know, maybe next week or whatever. we did have some good news that the Bank of Japan didn't raise interest rates, right? Because I was concerned about that in the month of July. But now we have almost near certainty that the Clarity Act is not going to go through. And for some strange reason, MicroStrategies is dumping their Bitcoin, which is, really only serves to spook the markets. And what it does is it puts more supply out in circulation. It kind of keeps the price down, so that's not too good. But going back to the whole thing, I was going through this whole thing is like a catch-22. Like, how do you make judgments off of coins these days, right? Because, yeah, devs might have conviction if it has centralized exchanges, but what about this coins like this? This went out and got like Mexi and cost like $100 grand to get on Mexi, and like, what the hell is it doing? It's doing nothing. It's crap. You're like, oh wow, these devs are dedicated to their project. They went out and they got another one too. I forgot what it was, but they got Mexi and they got whatever it was, or L Bank, whatever it was that they got. But it's a freaking 500K market cap, but it only goes down, down, down. Hold on, that's a good chance to play that music. From Johnny Cash, go down to a burning ring of fire. There we just.
I fell into a burning ring of fire. I went down, 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 like and the flames went higher. And it burns, burns, burns. The ring of fire. The ring of fire.
Yeah, this is Unk, man. I don't know, man. Like, what the hell? Like, how do you judge these memes these days? Because I've been doing some phenomenal work with choosing some great coins when it comes to utility coins, the projects that actually make money other than their crypto, like the 58x on the lab token last month, the month before that, the 350x the 58x on Velvet, and then the month before that, 350x on lab. Those are real projects, right? Those are real projects. But how the hell do you judge a new meme, right? You can judge a meme once it's been established, but this has been out for a couple months and it looks like crap. I mean, it looks terrible. And oh yeah, do they even have do these guys even have a because I was like, okay, this is kind of shady with them. They're paying for centralized exchanges, and for some strange reason they're going to CoinMarketCap. Yeah, red flag. They're not on CoinMarketCap, they're on Mexi, right? Still the same way. Why would they not do that? That's nuts. That's because, and I could be wrong, but that's because CoinMarketCap has certain standards when they verify somebody's application. And if you don't pass through, they won't let you in. So it's okay, there's a red flag right there. But yeah, you know. Perps are killing these coins, really? Devs should really just shoot for spot listings at first and work perps in once they have larger market cap and more liquidity. Yeah, I see what you mean. Yeah. Yeah, but I don't know. Yeah, I don't know, man. Yeah. Do you think Casper can get to a penny? Holy crap. I tell you what's weird right now. I was surprised to see Casper. Now, Casper today dipped below 2.6 cents. It was like 2.59 cents. And that's when I bought some more. So Bitcoin right now, so Bitcoin right now, let's check out Bitcoin over here. Yeah. Bitcoin today, earlier today, say in the morning, Bitcoin went down This is at 4:35 a.m. My computer is set at Eastern time, even though I'm in Central time right now. But yeah, so 4:35 a.m. Eastern US time, Bitcoin had its bottom for the day at 62.2. Right, 62.2 thousand. And then Caspa actually went below, not below 2.7 cents, but Caspa actually went below 2.6 cents. That's crazy. Like, I would have thought that Bitcoin would have to only go down to like, I don't know, man. I thought it would have to go down to like 59K again in order to see Caspa at like 2.59 cents. So I don't know what's going to happen over the next couple of weeks. We have this thing like over and over again for the 100 millionth time where the Iran war is stopped and we're negotiating, and then it's like, okay, and then we're fighting again. It's just like now it's like oil has gone down again because now Trump says they're working on a good deal and they're not fighting. It's just really nuts. I don't know. I hope the Trump admin really has a plan and they know what they're doing with this shit, because this is kind of nuts. I'm no military guy, but I've always, in my mind, I've always thought if we want to take out Iran, we have to invade from day one. You know, if we do it, we'd have to invade. I'm telling you, man, like, I'm not a military guy, but I just don't understand what the hell it is with this strategy. Like if the invasion had happened like 4 months ago, this will be over with right now. You know, assuming Trump doesn't succumb to the military-industrial complex like Bush Sr. did with the Iraq War and just stays in forever and it becomes a forever war, right? You know, Trump, you know, has a mentality like he did with ISIS in his first term: get in, do the job, get out. If he had that mentality, get in, invade, and then get out, we'd probably just be over with this right now already. It would just be over with. Now here we are 5 months later, and it's still the same thing. It's like back and forth every single goddamn week. But yeah, I think that's doing more harm than good. If we just had gotten in and gotten out, this is just doing more harm than good. It really has a ripple effect, because if the Clarity Act doesn't go through, and then the Dems take, you know, the Dems win the midterm election, we probably got some trouble. You know, we got some trouble, and it may not be apparent right away, but it will start to become apparent during the next administration. So is this just doing more harm than good? There's not only the Strait of Hormuz closure and the inflation that comes out of the closure of the Strait of Hormuz. It's just like it affects crypto, you know, across the board. But I mean, I don't like people to die, but I would just like to get this. I would just be happy if I wake up tomorrow and I just see like the invasion has happened. It would be all over the news. And I would see like a 40K Bitcoin or whatever. I would just be happy if that happened tomorrow at this point. This is kind of nuts. The Iranians are never going to give in. The Islamic Republic, they're never going to give in. They have to be defeated. There's no way around it. And if we just leave them alone right now and just like, and say we lost, they're going to do what they do, and they're going to just develop those nuclear weapons. It's like, there's no way around this. It'll be worse off if something goes nuclear a few years down the road, because, you know, there's going to be massive civilian casualties, and, you know, if something happens again. So I don't know. But yeah, I'm feeling really queasy about August, but we'll see what happens. Then we got a possible government shutdown in September, but I don't think that's likely, but we'll see. We'll see what happens. But I think that overall, if we disregard a lot of this geopolitical stuff, you know, I think everything's going to be front run. Whether the bottom is behind us or in the next few weeks, or well, at the same time that everybody's going to be buying back in October, and therefore people are going to be buying in September in anticipation of that. But yeah. But other than that, yeah, I'm talking. I guess this stream today isn't necessarily about tokens. It's more about you know, like all this October stuff. But yeah, there's been like what other I saw some pumps with Cash Cat. I thought this thing was dead up until a few moments ago. Oh, I just saw somebody. Haha, yeah, good timing. Yeah. I was just talking about Cash Cat. Rumors of a possible Binance listing. Yeah, I thought this was completely dead. This was like earlier this morning. And now it's just going nuts. So this is 4-hour candles. Yeah, it's a couple candles back. I was like, this ain't going nowhere. But I guess, no, that would be crazy if it out of the blue gets a Binance listing. It would. I wouldn't put it past them. Yeah, Binance listing strange meme coins over listing something like Caspa. I wouldn't put it past them. And it's not like they haven't done it before. Stupid Binance. And a stupid ass cat. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. This is what was that one I just had just a moment ago? No. I don't know. No, it wasn't this one. There was a dog. It was, oh yeah, Cooper, right? I would give this one more hope to be going places. Just because it's just a regular dog. It's not a dog with a pipe, right? Pipe dog, kind of stupid. Just because it's now, do they have? I've seen a lot of these guys with CoinMarketCap listings. Right, pipe dog is on CoinMarketCap, and Cooper is not, right? Yeah, but and then knowing it might be a real dog, that's that's pretty. Yeah, crypto. Yeah, going back to that thing that 1 cent Casper. I guess I went off into this tangent related to all this stuff going on. But yeah, I think that I was really surprised, man, to see Bitcoin only at 62K and then Casper going below 2.6 cents. It makes me think that if something happens, if that ground invasion happens, you know, like next week or whatever, and the markets crash. I mean, you say Bitcoin goes down to like, let's say, I don't know if it's going to go 40K. That's kind of extreme. But, you know, maybe 50K, 55K, because Bitcoin itself has been very, like, resilient. It's going to go down to like 55K. Now that there's more supply in the market, right, because of Michael Saylor, and he dumped $100 million worth. I don't know, but yeah, maybe 50K. And then what happens to Caspa? Does it go down? Does it go down below 2 cents? Like 1 point what? You know, 1.8 cents? Like how far could it go down? That would be crazy. Now I see it's within reach to actually go below 2 cents. Yeah, that would be nuts. Yeah. Wow, this guy's an opportunity to buy more. I know in the long run, you got conviction, right? In the long run, Casper is going to be flying. Same thing with Tau. Same thing with Tau. Tau is staying relatively strong. Tau is like, what I have here now. How was Tau earlier today? 187. Crazy, right? Yeah, Tau is demonstrating more strength than Casper as well. 9 Hood trying to stay alive. Yeah, I noticed that. Yeah, 9 Hood was yeah. Yeah, it's just a healthy retracement. But I got out so I can get more into what if, but whatever, it just doesn't matter. 9 Hood probably, I've said it before, 9 Hood could probably go to like at least the BOMO market cap, which is like 12 million, maybe 15 million. We'll see what happens. We don't know. We just have no idea how far these things can go and which one of these things can go far. That's the biggest question. 9 Hood, I think Cooper's okay. Definitely what if is at the top. I think Cash Cat kind of sucks, but it just happens to be what it really happens to be what the insiders are trying to push, right? Because if they got Cash Cat listed on so many centralized exchanges, it's kind of nuts. But it just happens to be that that's going to be like one of the ones. Hopefully it's not the one, right? Hopefully it's not the flagship meme on Robinhood, even though it is right now. Hopefully in the future, what if can take it down. But yeah, centralized exchanges. And sometimes you never know. You look at it, you're like, okay, this is a stupid cat, right? Crypto.com. That's crazy if they're on Crypto.com. Man, I believe it if they're going to get on Binance right now. Look at them on Crypto.com already. Holy crap. Wowzers. Yeah. Yeah, it's kind of crazy. But then it's like, look at like Mudang was listed on Robinhood, right? And for most people in the West, Mudang was like some strange, like a hippo, right? But then it was like, yeah, it's got a list on everything. But then it was like, okay, it had a lot of Asian buyers because apparently in Asia, this is like a character. It had a lot of buyers out in Asia. So, I mean, hopefully, we get some listings like that. Maybe Cash Catch is going to happen to be one of them, even though we think it's a stupid cat. No, I'm not looking at from why do I think Cooper is pretty good? Yeah, I'm not looking from a dev perspective. I'm just looking at it from the idea that it is not kind of stupid. I mean, it's not stupid. It's not a dog with a pipe. It's just, and then if you click on the profile, it's just like, it's just a regular dog. I just think just because of that. So meet the honorary member of our design team, Cooper. So this is a dog. This is a real dog in the Robinhood office. Like Toshi is like Brian Armstrong's real cat and so on. So this is a real dog, and it's a Robinhood dog in the headquarters, apparently, based on what I see here. So somebody made a meme out of it and retweeted the Robinhood post about Cooper. So, I mean, if there's anything second to what if, like in my opinion, what if should be on the top of Robinhood memes, right? But if there's anything second to that, just because of that, this is it. I can't think of another. Robinhood is 9 Hood is pretty good. 9 Hood has this concept, 9 lives, Robinhood, a cat in the hood. It's like a triple meeting, so to speak. I don't know. It's just, I think you can do a little bit more out of 9 Hood than Cash Cat, of course. But I think this is like the winner. But don't forget, a lot of people are trying to compare What If and maybe Cash Cow, right? Trying to compare the top meme on Robinhood to the top meme on Base, which was Brett in terms of market cap. Now, you can do that, and so okay, so Brett was like 1.97 billion at its high, its all-time high. But when things started to settle down after that run up in the end of 2024, Toshi actually flipped Brett, and I was celebrating because I was happy about that. Yeah, a lot of people are celebrating. So, you know, if anything, I would say like Toshi deserves to be like the #1 meme. It's like the face of Base, as they call it. Toshi is the #1 meme on Base, not Brett. And this, if anything, should be a contender to be like one of in the top position, in my opinion. I didn't even realize that until right now, and because I saw it, and I guess I saw it as a real dog, and now I realize what it is. So yeah, maybe I'm gonna look into this. And with that in mind, it's still insanely early, right? Because it's a 2.37 market cap. I'm sorry, a 237K market cap. 2.3. I'm thinking of Caspa. A 237 market cap. K market cap. Now, the other one is like if we look at Russell. Russell is the dog of Brian Armstrong. Russell. And we did a nice 12x on this in the end of last year in my group. Russell is one is only an XT, right? Russell is one has been sticking around. It's been bouncing around. So go back to the year. Yeah, this is that bounce where we got. So, you know, it could be one of those. It could be something like that where it goes up, has ups and downs. So I'm comparing Russell to Cooper right now. So, I mean, it could be like that. Like maybe Russell will just go up into the millions, come back down. Well, you know, who the hell knows? Who knows what's going to happen? But I think it's a good contender right now. Everything else is really stupid. Caspa's is yeah. Yeah. Yeah, it does have good art. You're talking about yeah, I think so. Oh, so this is kind of funny. So this is Cash Cat. At least they did something good with Cash Cat. Boring ass cat. So they're chasing out these well, I was gonna say ETH, but no, this is Doge is there too. But yeah, they're chasing out these other meme coins. That's pretty cool. I actually like that. I kind of like that. Yeah, you know, we'll see. When it comes to art, yeah, they have good art, but nowadays it's so easy to make this art, make art with AI. He's now featured on Binance Square. Featured on CoinMarketCap, another huge step up. Oh, it's in the Robinhood dog is tapping into one of the strongest narratives on Robinhood chain. Yeah, it's just an article, but yeah. What's this about CoinMarketCap? Yeah, they're doing work. They're doing their work. Yeah, I see what they're doing here. These press releases. Yeah, if they keep on going, I'll probably make something out of it. Yeah, I'm actually considering Cooper right now. Some of the Cash Cat memes are pretty funny. Are we talking about the same Cash Cat? Maybe I haven't taken a look in a while. Some of the Cash Cat memes are pretty. I can't. Don't know why this is not playing. Unless it doesn't have any sound. I like memes as well. Yeah, maybe it just doesn't have sound. Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. I guess they're getting better. Yeah, they are getting a little better. All right, so they're getting better when it comes to. Yeah, I guess when I was looking into this, they didn't have all this. Well, now, yeah, I guess this goes back. So back when I was looking into it, I guess last week, I was like, this is boring. All right, maybe they're stepping up their game. Cooper's CoinGecko, yeah. Yeah, Cooper is. Yeah, I wouldn't expect too much out of them, right? Well, Cooper is just. Cooper is just like a couple days old, or the 20s. So the 28th. Yeah, it's just it's 6 days old. Yeah, it's not too old at all. Yeah, I still think that the what if is like crazy. I did that explanation yesterday when it comes to what if. Like Pepe, people are making the comparison to what if, in case you guys didn't catch the stream yesterday, people make the comparison to Pepe. I'm talking about what if. But with Pepe, Pepe was like a totally an insider coin, right? Because within the same week, you see this candle right here, this is week 2, right? The high is 169 million. Then right after that, the high is 353 million. And then over here, the high is 1.8 billion. Because in their first week, they're getting listed on like tier ones. They got listed on HTX, and then like the next day it was Gate, and then Mexi. It was like they just out of the blue they launched, and then suddenly they're getting listed on all these centralized exchanges. So that doesn't. You can't compare that to what if. What if it just grew organically to like near 40 million without any centralized exchanges in a bear market, nonetheless. I've seen it happen without centralized exchanges growing organically, but that would be like in 2021 in a bull cycle, like when things are like flying. I've seen it happen, but for it to do that in the bear market is crazy. Cash Cat got listed on a whole bunch of centralized exchanges. So they didn't pump organically the same way What If did. Like I make that comparison to more so like Dogecoin. Dogecoin was organic. Dogecoin didn't get listed on any tier ones for years. Crazy amounts of years. Like Dogecoin launched in December 2013, and it pumped a little bit just because that was the month of the cycle top. That was alt season. And then it just over the next 4 years, it just grew organically, and didn't even have like a parabolic pump in 2017 either. Right? Because nobody really cared about meme coins too much. It was like Elon Musk made it a thing because he liked Dogecoin. It's like Dogecoin just grew organically, just from people just getting behind it and backing it. So what I'm saying is, my point is, if enough people can get behind what if to do what it has done, go back to it, to do what it did in this short of a time period, in a bear market nonetheless, that's like crazy. Yeah, it just shows you it has a really strong community. Like, I've seen this all the time without centralized exchanges, but I would rarely see that in a bear market. Yeah, I mean, yeah, we had quite a few of these pumps, like the last run up, the last local top, right? What most people say, the cycle top of last year. But yeah, September, October, yeah, we had some tokens that were flying, and some of them didn't get centralized exchanges. Yeah, Pepe had big money for sure. Exactly. That's what I say. Yeah, if is a super unique idea and meme with a good community and good devs. Yeah, I agree. It could go. It could go parabolic. Hopefully, man. Hopefully. What if? What if? We shall see. The dip on it, if could just be Archie and the other whales pulling to get more centralized exchanges. I get more exchanges to further grow. Yeah, that is a thought. Yeah, that is a thought. Well, then I might get some centralized exchanges. Yeah, that is a thought, probably. Hopefully, because that's the best scenario. The normal scenario is just early investors are just taking profits. So you're like, okay, yeah, that's fine. Everybody has the right to take profits. Early investors who bought like back here or selling over here. So, but yeah, if some of them are actually cashing out to get on centralized exchanges, that's awesome. That would be like, yeah. Woo! Yeah, we need this thing. We need this thing to flip Cash Cat in order to be, I guess, to be taken seriously by Vlad at Robinhood. Obviously, right now, it's reached a point where, yeah, it has to be taken seriously, but there can be no doubt in anybody's mind, if this thing is trading above a market cap of Cash Cat, then yeah, it totally has to be taken seriously. Yeah, I mean, anyways, guys, I'm going to call it quits. I'm going to just sign off right now. I'm getting tired for some reason. I'm tired really early. Getting old. I'm going to catch you guys later. Thanks for joining, y'all.
Code Monkey, Code Monkey.